The night didn't hurry at all. Streets were wider than before. A single light stayed where it was, like it forgot what it was for. Steps became unsure of themselves. Time felt thinner when I moved. Nothing asked to be remembered. Nothing tried to prove the truth. I didn't know when it began. There was no clear line to cross, just a feeling in the air, like something quietly unlocked. It was the first sound of snow, not a rhythm, not a sign, just the world easing its weight, one slow moment at a time. Windows watched without a sound. Breath stayed longer in the cold. Even thoughts began to slow. Stories waiting to be told. I had words but let them rest. They felt heavier out loud. Somewhere deep inside the quiet, something soft and something bowed. I didn't try to hold it still. I didn't turn to see it go. It stayed only as it was. Something felt but never known. It didn't fall the way things fall. It didn't leave a mark to see. It settled somewhere in between what the night allowed of me. No request, no need to change. No beginning asking why. Just a pause the heart remembers long after it passes by. The ground looked harder than it was, holding more than it revealed. Every step felt careful, like it knew what not to feel. Cold stayed on the surface, doing what it had to do. But underneath the quiet, something moved I never knew. I thought strength meant standing firm against whatever came, but something gentler waited there without a name. There was something soft beneath the winter, not asking to be found. It stayed where no one looked for it, low and close to the ground. Hands forgot how to protect what no longer needed guard. Even silence changed its shape, less distant, less hard. I didn't question what remained, I didn't ask it why. It felt enough to let it be without reply. Some things don't survive by force, they stay by letting go. I didn't know that tenderness could move so slow. It didn't break the frozen line stood there longer than I meant, not waiting, not unsure. It wasn't strength that held me up, it was something more. No reason rising from the cold, no truth I had to prove, only this quiet undercurrent that finally moved.
The street had already emptied, but it didn't feel undone. A bench stayed warm a little longer, as if someone had just gone. Posters peeled themselves away from corners they once knew. Every sound felt slightly used, but still true. I walked without a destination, not trying to arrive. Some places hold on to a moment long after it survives. There was music left on a winter street, not playing, not complete, just a trace the night forgot to take when it retreated. Footsteps echoed differently, not louder, just more clear, like the street remembered how we used to hear. Windows dim their yellow light, not calling anyone home. Even silence felt arranged, not alone. I didn't stop to name the feeling, I didn't slow my pace, but something followed every step I couldn't erase. It didn't ask me to listen, it didn't need a sound. It stayed between the cracks of time, where nothing else was found. Maybe places never empty, they just change their road. From somewhere people pass right through to somewhere something holds. I thought I'd left without a trace, but standing there I knew the street was keeping more of me than I ever knew. I knew. No song you'd hum or recognize, no tune you try to keep, only what remains behind when a moment falls asleep.
Return to its own color, nothing wide enough to keep. Footprints blurred into the morning, as if they chose to sleep. The air felt lighter than before, not warm, just less unsure. Every sound knew where to end and didn't ask for more. I thought what fades would disappear without a trace to find, but something lingered in the space between the lines. There was music that stayed after the snow, not playing, not loud, just a presence holding shape after everything settled down. Windows open to the day without remembering why. Light moved freely through the room, no reason to reply. Nothing asked me where I'd been, nothing asked me when the day accepted what remained and didn't question then. I didn't look for what was gone, I didn't call it back. Some moments don't return again, they only last. It didn't echo through the hours, didn't try to stay. It rested where the silence was and gently changed the day. Maybe memory isn't sound or something you repeat. Maybe it's the way a feeling learns to sit. I didn't notice when the weight finally let go. I was already standing in the afterglow. No sign to mark the ending, no proof that it was true. Only what the heart remembers when nothing else is new. The morning didn't feel unkind, just careful with its light. The cold still held the edges, but it loosened them a bit. People moved more slowly, as if they'd learned the pace. Every breath made room for something that wasn't in a race. I thought warmth would be obvious, something easy to explain, but it found me quietly, like a break inside the day. This was a warm part of a cold day, not the kind that makes you stay, just enough to change the way you carry what remains. Hands remembered other seasons without asking for return. The air didn't feel so heavy when I stopped resisting it. Even silence felt adjusted, less distant than before, like it learned a softer language it didn't know. Nothing turned the weather kind, nothing shifted overnight, but something eased its pressure without saying why. It didn't melt what had been waiting, it didn't chase the gray, it simply stood beside the cold and made a little space. Maybe warmth is never louder than the ache it sits beside. Maybe comfort is the moment you don't ask it to arrive. I didn't notice when my shoulders finally came down. I was already standing in what I'd found. No promise held inside it, no future it could claim, only this quiet difference that stayed without a name. didn't feel unfinished. It simply let things rest. Nothing left to clear away, nothing left to guess. Footsteps blended with the street, no reason to remain. Even time felt comfortable with what it could name. I thought endings would be heavier, something hard to hold, but this one felt like breathing out after the cold. This was the last snow, the warmest sound, not falling, not around, just the echo of a feeling that finally touched the ground. The sky held no more questions, the air no longer tried. Every thought found its own place without asking why. I didn't look for what was next, I didn't turn away. It felt enough to stand inside what chose to stay. Some things don't ask for memory, they don't need to last. They only leave a quiet warmth after they've passed. It didn't shine or call my name, it didn't need a sign. It rested in the space I kept between the lines. Maybe warmth is not a promise or something meant to prove. Maybe it's the sound that stays after you move. I didn't know when it became part of who I am. I only know it stayed with me when everything else ran. No season left to wait for, no silence left to fill. Only this gentle certainty that everything went still.
The radio stayed lower than my thoughts, not trying to be heard. A tune moved carefully, like it was choosing every word. The room leaned into the sound without changing shape. Even the walls seemed to listen, but never participate. I didn't notice the moment it crossed from air to me. No clear line between the sound and what I came to feel. That was when snow touched the melody, not covering, not cold, just resting on the notes before they could grow old. The song didn't ask for memory, it didn't pull me back. It stayed right where my breathing was, along a quieter track. Nothing rose above the room, nothing tried to leave. The music knew exactly how much it didn't need. I thought sound would always move ahead of where I stood, but now it felt like it was waiting, the way something just stayed inside the moment as it bent. No echo left to follow, no silence left behind, only this gentle overlap of sound and state of mind.
Nothing moved the way it should. Chairs stayed closer to the wall. Even light forgot its edge, like it wasn't there at all. The room was warm but said no more than it needed to explain. Every clock agreed to pause, every thought unlearned its name. I didn't notice when it changed. There was no before or then, just a space that slowly opened, letting something settle in. It was a song falling without a sound, not arriving, not profound, no melody you try to keep, just something passing through the deep. Stayed where the silence leaned, not forward, not behind. Breath felt wider than my chest. Time grew careless with its lines. Nothing asked me how I felt, nothing asked me what to do. Even memory stood still, as if it wasn't passing through. I didn't reach to make it last, I didn't turn to see. Some things move the heart most clearly when they never let you know. It didn't echo, didn't stay, didn't try to find a way. It crossed the room and disappeared like it was never meant to hear. No reason given, none required, no beginning left behind, just the quiet finding form somewhere. The air didn't bite anymore, it only stayed a little longer, like it wanted to understand what made me pause. The street kept its distance, no light too close or far. Even my breath felt different, less sharp. I thought the chill would always lead, but something eased its hold. Not warmth exactly, just less cold. This was where the cold became gentle, without asking me to know. Not a change I could point to, just a softer undertow. Hands forgot how to close tight, shoulders slowly came down. The quiet learned a different shape, less hollow, more sound. I stood longer than I meant to, not waiting for relief, Maybe change is never louder than the thing it replaces. Maybe calm is just the moment pain loosens its traces. I didn't notice when I stopped, bracing for the air. I was already breathing, unaware.
The sky was holding its breath, not falling, not clear. The shadows stayed longer than usual, like they had nowhere to disappear. Footprints stopped making sense, half finished then gone. The day felt thinner than yesterday, as if something was moving on. I felt it coming, not all at once. No sound to warm my mind, just a quiet leaning forward, leaving something undefined. This was before the ground turned white, when nothing had decided yet. The world was still explaining itself in sentences it never said. Stayed deep in their pockets, words stayed out of reach. Even the wind slowed down its questions, as if it learned not to speak. I stood where the corner bends, between the known and then. Nothing asked me where I'd been, nothing asked me when. I didn't wait for certainty, I didn't need a sign. Some moments don't arrive fully, they just loosen time. It wasn't cold enough to stay, it wasn't warm enough to leave. Everything was almost something, almost memory. No clear start, no closing sound, no line you're meant to cross. Just a feeling that remains when change has not begun, but is no longer lost.
Slower than before, not darker, just more still. Sounds didn't leave right away, they lingered at the sill. A chair remembered someone's weight after they were gone. Even the clock seemed unsure if it should move on. I thought quiet meant the end of everything that was, but it felt fuller than before, as if it paused because this was when silence started to pile up, not empty layers had been one layer after one. Breath stayed close to my mouth, words stayed where they fell. Nothing needed explanation, nothing rang a bell. The day folded into itself without a single sign, like it knew how to stay intact by leaving things behind. I didn't reach to fill the space, I didn't try to speak. Some moments hold their shape when you let them be. It didn't press against my chest, it didn't ask for air. It rested like a second skin I barely felt was there. Maybe silence is an absence, maybe it's a weight that grows each time you notice what you didn't say. I stood inside that quiet longer than I planned. It didn't close around me, it just stayed where I stand. No sound to mark the moment, no line to recognize, only this steady stillness that learned how to rise.
The room stayed still on purpose, as if it knew the hour. Shadows rested on the wall, losing all their power. A cup cooled by my fingers, time forgot to move. Nothing here was asking to be proved. I didn't turn my head just yet, I felt it on the glass. Something changing shape outside, already moving past. Snow passed the window slowly, without a trace or sound, just enough to shift the dark before it touched the ground. Breath appeared and disappeared, like it knew the rule. Even thoughts began to slow and wander where they choose. The night leaned closer to the light, then stepped a little back. Nothing needed to be kept, nothing left to mark. I stayed where I was standing, didn't follow, didn't wait. Some moments aren't arriving, they're already late. It didn't call, it didn't stay, it didn't need my name. It crossed the space between my thoughts and left them not the same. If I tried to hold that moment, it would lose its weight. Some things only feel honest when they hesitate. I learned how to watch without asking it to be anything more than what it was, passing quietly. No beginning I could point to, no ending I could see, only something gently changed and stayed inside of me.
Stopped shifting its shape, corners held their ground, footsteps didn't fade as fast, they learned a different sound. Light stayed longer on the road as if it changed its mind. Nothing rushed to disappear, nothing fell behind. I felt the pause before the still, a space that wouldn't clear. Some moments don't keep moving, they decide to linger here. This was the moment snow began to stay, not falling anymore. It settled where the day had been and asked for nothing more. Cold no longer felt impatient, it knew how long to wait. Even silence found a place where it could concentrate. Breath turned visible and slow, time forgot to leave. Everything I couldn't hold was easier to see. I didn't reach to stop the change, I didn't turn away. It felt like something finally allowed to stay. It wasn't heavy, wasn't bright, didn't ask to be believed. It simply rested in the space between what was and is. Came before. I stood there longer than I thought, not waiting, not unsure. Some things don't need to promise us, they're steady just because. No sound announcing what it was, no sign of where it led, only this quiet certainty that something had been said. The night didn't hurry at all. Streets were wider than before. A single light stayed where it was, like it forgot what it was for. Steps became unsure of themselves. Time felt thinner when I moved. Nothing asked to be remembered, nothing tried to prove the truth. I didn't know when it began. There was no clear line to cross, just a feeling in the air, like something quietly unlocked. It was the first sound of snow, not a rhythm, not a sign, just the world easing its weight, one slow moment at a time. thoughts began to slow, stories waiting to be told. I had words but let them rest. They felt heavier out loud. Somewhere deep inside the quiet, something soft and something loud. I didn't try to hold it still, I didn't turn to see it go. It stayed only as it was, something felt but never known. It didn't fall the way things fall, it didn't leave a mark to see. It settled somewhere in between what the night allowed of me. No request, no need to change, no beginning asking why. Just a pause the heart remembers long after it passes by. The ground looked harder than it was, holding more than it revealed. Every step felt careful, like it knew what not to feel. Cold stayed on the surface, doing what it had to do. But underneath the quiet, something moved I never knew. I thought strength meant standing firm against whatever came, but something gentler waited there without a name. There was something soft beneath the winter, not asking to be found. It stayed where no one looked for it, low and close to the ground. Hands forgot how to protect what no longer needed guard. Even silence changed its shape, less distant, less hard. I didn't question what remained, I didn't ask it why. It felt enough to let it be without reply. Some things don't survive by force, they stay by letting go. I didn't know that tenderness could move so slow. It didn't break the frozen lines, it didn't make a sound. It only warmed the space it touched without turning around. Maybe what endures the most is what we fail to see. Not the weight we learn to carry, but what stays gently. I stood there longer than I meant, not waiting, not unsure. It wasn't strength that held me up, it was something more. No reason rising from the cold, no truth I had to prove. Only this quiet undercurrent that finally moved.
but it didn't feel undone. A bench stayed warm a little longer, as if someone had just gone. Posters peeled themselves away from corners they once knew. Every sound felt slightly used, but still true. I walked without a destination, not trying to arrive. Some places hold on to a moment long after it survives. There was music left on a winter street, not playing, not complete, just to trace the night forgot to take when it retreated. Footsteps echoed differently, not louder, just more clear, like the street remembered how we used to hear. Windows dim their yellow light, not calling anyone home. Even silence felt arranged, not alone. I didn't stop to name the feeling, I didn't slow my pace, but something followed every step I couldn't erase. It didn't ask me to listen, it didn't need a sound. It stayed between the cracks of time, where nothing else was found. Maybe places never empty, they just change their role. From somewhere people pass right through to somewhere something holds. I thought I'd left without a trace, but standing there I knew the street was keeping more of me than I ever knew. I knew. No song you'd hum or recognize, no tune you try to keep, only what remains behind when a moment falls asleep.
Returned to its own color, nothing wide enough to keep. Footprints blurred into the morning, as if they chose to sleep. The air felt lighter than before, not warm, just less unsure. Every sound knew where to end and didn't ask for more. I thought what fades would disappear without a trace to find, but something lingered in the space between the lines. There was music that stayed after the snow, not playing, not loud, just a presence holding shape after everything settled down. Windows open to the day without remembering why. Light moved freely through the room, no reason to reply, nothing didn't feel unkind, just careful with its light. The cold still held the edges, but it loosened them a bit. People moved more slowly, as if they'd learned the pace. Every breath made room for something that wasn't in a race. I thought warmth would be obvious, something easy to explain, but it found me quietly, like a break inside the day. This was a warm part of a cold day, not the kind that makes you stay, just enough to change the way you carry what remains. Hands remembered other seasons without asking for return. The air didn't feel so heavy when I stopped resisting it. Even silence felt adjusted, less distant than before, like it learned a softer language it didn't know. Nothing turned the weather kind, nothing shifted overnight, but something eased its pressure without saying why. It didn't melt what had been waiting, it didn't chase the gray, it simply stood beside the cold and made a little space. Maybe warmth is never louder than the ache it sits beside. Maybe comfort is the moment you don't ask it to arrive. I didn't notice when my shoulders finally came down. I was already standing in what I'd found. No promise held inside it, no future it could claim, only this quiet difference that stayed without a name. The day didn't feel unfinished, it simply let things rest. Nothing left to clear away, nothing left to guess. Footsteps blended with the street, no reason to remain. Even time felt comfortable with what it could name. I thought endings would be heavier, something hard to hold, but this one felt like breathing out after the cold. This was the last snow, the warmest sound, not falling, not around, just the echo of a feeling that finally touched the ground. The sky held no more questions, the air no longer tried. Every thought found its own place without asking why. I didn't look for what was next, I didn't turn away. It felt enough to stand inside what chose to stay. Some things don't ask for memory, they don't need to last, they only leave a quiet warmth after they've passed. It didn't shine it's not a promise or something meant to prove. Maybe it's the sound that stays after you move. I didn't know when it became part of who I am. I only know it stayed with me when everything else ran. No season left to wait for, no silence left to fill. Only this gentle certainty that everything went still.
The radio stayed lower than my thoughts, not trying to be heard. A tune moved carefully, like it was choosing every word. The room leaned into the sound without changing shape. Even the walls seemed to listen, but never participate. I didn't notice the moment it crossed from air to me. No clear line between the sound and what I came to feel. That was when snow touched the melody, not covering, not cold, just resting on the notes before they could grow old. The song didn't ask for memory, it didn't pull me back. It stayed right where my breathing was, along a quieter track. Nothing rose above the room, nothing tried to leave. The music knew exactly how much it didn't need. I thought sound would always move ahead of where I stood, but now it felt like it was waiting, the way something understood. It didn't melt into the tune, it didn't disappear. It softened every edge it touched, then quietly stayed near. Maybe music isn't something that arrives or goes. Maybe it's what happens when time slows. I didn't hum along or stop to see where it might end. I just stayed inside the moment as it bent. No echo left to follow, no silence left behind, only this gentle overlap of sound and state of mind.
Nothing moved the way it should. Chairs stayed closer to the wall. Even light forgot its edge, like it wasn't there at all. The room was warm but said no more than it needed to explain. Every clock agreed to pause, every thought unlearned its name. I didn't notice when it changed, there was no before or then. Just a space that slowly opened, letting something settle in. was a song falling without a sound, not arriving, not profound, no melody you try to keep, just something passing through the deep. I stayed where the silence leaned, not forward, not behind. Breath felt wider than my chest, time grew careless with its lines. Nothing asked me how I felt, nothing asked me what to do. Even memory stood still, as if it wasn't passing through. I didn't reach to make it last, I didn't turn to see it go. Some things move the heart most clearly when they never let you know. It didn't echo, didn't stay, didn't try to find a way. It crossed the room and disappeared like it was never meant to hear. No reason given, none required, no beginning left behind, just the quiet finding form somewhere far inside the mind. The air didn't bite anymore, it only stayed a little longer, like it wanted to understand what made me pause. The street kept its distance, no light too close or far. Even my breath felt different, less sharp. I thought the chill would always lead, but something eased its hold. Not warmth exactly, just less cold. This was where the cold became gentle, without asking me to know. Not a change I could point to, just a softer undertow. Hands forgot how to close tight, shoulders slowly came down. The quiet learned a different shape, less hollow, more sound. I stood longer than I meant to, not waiting for relief. It felt enough to stand inside what didn't leave. Nothing promised me comfort, nothing asked me to stay, but the weight I carried earlier wasn't the same. It didn't turn into warmth, it didn't suddenly glow. It only stopped insisting on how cold it had to be. Maybe change is never louder than the thing it replaces. Maybe calm is just the moment pain loosens its traces. I didn't notice when I stopped, bracing for the air. I was already breathing, unaware. No clear reason, no reply, no signal to
The sky was holding its breath, not falling, not clear. The shadows stayed longer than usual, like they had nowhere to disappear. Footprints stopped making sense, half finished then gone. The day felt thinner than yesterday, as if something was moving on. I felt it coming, not all at once. No sound to warm my mind, just a quiet leaning forward, leaving something undefined. This was before the ground turned white, when nothing had decided yet. The world was still explaining itself in sentences it never said. Hands stayed deep in their pockets, words stayed out of reach. Even the wind slowed down its questions, as if it learned not to speak. I stood where the corner bends, between the known and then. Nothing asked me where I'd been, nothing asked me when. I didn't wait for certainty, I didn't need a sign. Some moments don't arrive fully, they just lose in time. It wasn't cold enough to stay, it wasn't warm enough to leave. Everything was almost something, almost memory. No clear start, no closing sound, no line you're meant to cross. Just the feeling that remains when change has not begun, but is no longer lost.
Slower than before, not darker, just more still. Sounds didn't leave right away, they lingered at the sill. A chair remembered someone's weight after they were gone. Even the clock seemed unsure if it should move on. I thought quiet meant the end of everything that was, but it felt fuller than before, as if it paused, because this was when silence started to pile up, not empty, not undone. It gathered where the noise had been, one layer after one. Breath stayed close to my mouth, words stayed where they fell. Nothing needed explanation, nothing rang a bell. The day folded into itself without a single sign, like it knew how to stay intact by leaving things behind. I didn't reach to fill the space, I didn't try to speak. sound to mark the moment, no land to recognize, only this steady stillness that learned how to rise.
The room stayed still on purpose, as if it knew the hour. Shadows rested on the wall, losing all their power. A cup cooled by my fingers, time forgot to move. Nothing here was asking to be proved. I didn't turn my head just yet, I felt it on the glass. Something changing shape outside, already moving past. Snow passed the window slowly, without a trace or sound, just enough to shift the dark before it touched the ground. Breath appeared and disappeared, like it knew the rule. Even thoughts began to slow and wander where they choose. The night leaned closer to the light, then stepped a little back. Nothing needed to be kept, nothing left to mark. I stayed where I was standing, didn't follow, didn't wait. Some moments aren't arriving, they're already late. It didn't call, it didn't stay, it didn't need my name. It crossed the space between my thoughts and left them not the same. If I tried to hold that moment, it would lose its weight. Some things only feel honest when they hesitate. I learned how to watch without asking it to be anything more than what it was, passing quietly. No beginning I could point to, no ending I could see. Only something gently changed and stayed inside of me.
Night stopped shifting its shape, corners held their ground. Footsteps didn't fade as fast, they learned a different sound. Light stayed longer on the road, as if it changed its mind. Nothing rushed to disappear, nothing fell behind. I felt the pause before the still, a space that wouldn't clear. Some moments don't keep moving, they decide to linger here. This was the moment snow began to stay, not falling anymore. It settled where the day had been and asked for nothing more. where it could concentrate. Breath turned visible and slow. Time forgot to leave. Everything I couldn't hold was easier to see. I didn't reach to stop the change. I didn't turn away. It felt like something finally allowed itself to stay. It wasn't heavy, wasn't bright, didn't ask to be believed. It simply rested in the space between what was and is. Maybe staying doesn't mean it lasts forevermore. Maybe it just means the ground remembers what came before. I stood there longer than I thought, not waiting, not unsure. Some things don't need to promise us, they're steady just because.